San Antonio Spurs three times now. That's free, bro. 3 times San Antonio Spurs has beaten the OKC Thunder in the last 2 weeks, guys. Let's just let that sink in. OKC in their last 6 games have gone 4 for 6. I mean, no, 2 for 4. Yeah, they've lost 4 out of their last 6 games, and 3 of those losses came to the OKC. They've lost to OKC 3 times in the last 2 weeks. What is this historical beatdown that San Antonio Spurs is giving the OKC right now? It's crazy, bro. And in this one, we're just going to break this one down. We're going to break it down, decompose of it. You feel me? Like Water Magellan's poison. Because right now, I think OKC might have just found their Water Magellan. I think Shea is coming across as Water Magellan, bro. You feel me? We're here to break this one down. They played today, on Christmas Day. A Christmas Day game. A big occasion, One of the marquee days. One of the marquee spots on the NBA calendar, right? NBA Christmas Day, is a privilege for a lot of players. Always speak about how it is a privilege for them to be playing on a day like this. And the San Antonio Spurs, I think it was a lot of their players' first NBA Christmas Day games, and their players, they took the opportunity with both hands. Especially De'Aaron Fox. Today was his first one. Started the game extremely hot, man. In this one, I think in the first half he went for 23 points. 9 for 11 from the field. Like, he was zooming, he was booming, brum, bro. Lewis Hamilton with the DRS from up and down the court, bro. He was moving, and he was a bucket getter in this one. In my opinion, the whole game, outside of his scoring, in my opinion, I feel like in the second half, we started to see a lot more or different sides of his game, right? So him on the defensive end, him playmaking-wise. So, yeah, that was good to see, because the game when they played the Thunder, was it Tuesday? It was earlier this week, right? 23rd, right? He had 6 points, an underwhelming 6 points. They did in that one manage to blow out the OKC Thunder. They managed to come out of that one with a victory, so it didn't hurt them too much. But today he definitely stepped it up, and yeah, man, he had a very good game today. Harrison Barnes, yo, you lot, this guy's been balling, bro. While I was on. When I first started balling, I was young. Bro, Harrison Barnes, over the last few games, he's been hooping, and today was just a continuation of that. Harrison Barnes, man, I felt like he was knocking down his shots. He was playing good defense. He was doing what he had to do, contributing to the team. Man, getting on to Stephon Castle. This is a start in the making, guys. Stephen Castle's a baller, and that Luke Cornett trade, I hate to see it because that's one of my boys. I'm a Celtics fan, innit? He was so integral to that Celtics rotation, a marquee, a very important player in the Celtics rotation, en route to the Celtics championship success. So him seeing what he's doing with the San Antonio Spurs is not really, much surprise. He's picked up where he left off from Boston. An amazing pickup for the San Antonio Spurs. He just complements their rotation, just complements that team so well. And that little pick and roll action, him and Castle were getting going at the start of the third quarter, was mesmerizing, bro. So that basically allowed them to establish the lead that they had in the second half. Anything else, Keldon Johnson was active around the rim. So yeah, I just felt like the Spurs in general, played a very good game, and what was the biggest contributing factor to them winning this one, guys, they were pushing that ball fast today. They were playing with serious pace, especially in that first half. They were bringing that ball up, and in my opinion, I felt like they really exploited OKC in that one, because I feel like OKC is a very good team in the half court. When the game becomes a half court game, it becomes very difficult to score against OKC. It becomes very difficult to play against OKC. We all know that their defense of theirs is elite, man. It's literally the best defense in the entire league. So OKC, Spurs using pace on that one, kind of, unsettled their defense a little bit. It didn't really allow for the OKC defense to settle in, to pick up their guys and that, because when you play with pace, you're just exploiting space, really. It kind of creates confusion amongst the defenders as well. So yeah, that kind of tallied them up to getting were racking up a lot of fast break points. Spurs were getting a lot of fast break points off turnovers. Very good in transition today. And yeah, pace and the transition game was, in my opinion, the biggest reason why the Spurs won this one. So yeah, it was great to see. OKC on the other hand, man, I feel like in the first half, a lot of the guys were missing their shots. Shea Gilly just... Listen, man. Shea Gill just mastered the mid-range game. He picked it up in the second half. He did pick it up, but in my opinion, in the first half, he started the game a bit slow. His shot wasn't falling. Shet as well, shot wasn't falling. Alex Caruso, man. Sheesh. He couldn't really buy anything. He couldn't really get anything from Alex Caruso in that game, especially in the first half. It felt like every time he shot, there was a lid on the rim. His shot just wasn't falling, bro. You couldn't really get anything out of the guy. It's like, on Xbox, right? When the Xbox 360, when you try to power it up and you bring the ring of death, the red ring, that was Alex Caruso today. You couldn't really get anything from the guy. So yeah, in the first half, I felt like the OKC, their players, their shots just wasn't falling. And from that point onwards, they were just playing catch up in that one. Because again, Spurs was exploiting them in transition and Spurs built a double point lead in that one. And you're thinking to yourself, Spurs have been beating them. They beat them convincingly earlier in the week, in a 20-point blowout. And then they beat them again in the NBA Cup semi-finals. You're just thinking to yourself, what was it, like a 15-point lead at halftime? No, it was like 9-point lead at halftime. And then they extended it to a double-digit lead early in the early in the third. You're just thinking to yourself, listen, Spurs, if they don't do anything stupid, if they don't do anything crazy here, they should really be walking out here with the win. And then they did 17-102. They walked out here with a win convincingly. And yeah, it was just a great performance overall from the Spurs. Look at OKC versus the Spurs prior to the game today in their last two matchups as of late. In the first game, the NBA Cup semi-finals, not much was really in it. It was a very tight game. That could have went either way. Spurs did amount to a late game run, or they did go on a little bit of a run to cut the OKC lead, and then from there it was just a toss between the two teams, and then San Antonio just executed better in the clutch. But in both games, what I noticed, the stats right here, guys, Spurs, again, there wasn't really much in it in the first game, and even in the second game, right, in terms of 3-pointers, but in both games the Spurs did shoot the three better, so that's something to look into. But I feel like, especially when looking into the second game, the game they played earlier on, right? The one where the Spurs won 110-130 in a 20-point blowout. Man, the Spurs defense in that second game, man. It kind of reflects on the stat sheets and when watching on it, when watching the game live. Their defense was just, again, man, it was good to see in that second matchup. And it kind of reflects, they got double the OKC's steals in that one. They got the steals, and again, like similar today, they were generating a lot of fast break points. So they were generating a lot of turnovers. They were getting a lot of points in transition game. Quite similar today. The game earlier on in the week on Tuesday, kind of a replica. Steals, playing good defense, forcing OKC to make a mistake, and then pushing the ball, playing with great pace. And also in that game, I felt like the San Antonio Spurs, their ability to get onto the free throw line was quite good. I'm checking it now. Let me just check for you lot. Spurs went to the line 24 times and made 18 of them. They could improve, free throw wise, because if that was a tight game, they're probably kicking themselves at that one, because they did get themselves to the line quite a lot there, only making 75% of their free throws. So yeah, man, their ability to get to the free throw line was quite good in that game. And again, today, what we saw, similarly to today and their last game on Tuesday that these two teams played, Spurs, playing great defense, getting a handful of steals, and then just generating fast break points. Again, pushing the ball in pace, not allowing that OKC defense to settle in. Because once again, when OKC plays that half court game, when the game becomes a half court game, there's only really one winner. It's so tough to beat the OKC Thunder. And yeah, again, pace, playing with pace, you're not really allowing the opposition defenders to settle in. So I just think that's something, the league, watching the San Antonio Spurs play the OKC, that's something teams around the league might, want to pick up on. Playing pace, starting to play with pace. Guys, I have to ask you lot this question, man. What's your thoughts, people? You guys watching this, what's your thoughts on and expectations of the Spurs in this year's playoffs? Because if you ask me, what we've seen in these last 3 weeks, the last 2-3 weeks, and these last 3 games that the Spurs have played against the OKC Thunder, listen, man, if anything, they showed us that they've got their number. Because one time, I don't know, maybe you could have said it was a fluke. Two, you could have said, it was just a poor night. But three times in a row, without a clapback, without a response from the OKC. Okay, now it's like, hold on. There's no smoke without fire. Spurs might have got their number. Spurs just might actually have their number. They might have found a way to stop the OKC. And in a playoff series, if these two teams were to ever meet, I'm not saying that the Spurs 100% guaranteed have their number. They just know how to play them, because I just feel like a lot of basketball still to be played, and I think their coach's name, what we saw or what we've seen from Mark Dagnall, suggests that he's a great coach. And OKC is a great team, and a pairing of a great coach and a great team with a lot of basketball to be played, you kind of expect them to adjust and adapt, So I wouldn't really say, in a series, Spurs definitely should be heading into a series against the OKC as favourites. But again, it's one to keep an eye on. OKC, San Antonio in the series, if they was to ever be put into a series with the OKC, they should be backing themselves. This is, if anything, is a confidence booster. These last 3 wins that they've picked up recently over the OKC Thunder, right? So the Spurs, listen, man, in a series against the OKC Thunder, definitely you can't count them out. But Spurs in general, playoffs as a whole, I just feel like, it's a bit too early for them, in a sense, to kind of go far and become a threat. Or, in the NBA, they are the NBA's top teams. When you think of the top 5, top 6 teams, they're probably in and around it, right? But I just feel like championship contention, I just feel like it's a canon event for a young team to kind of go through pain. You kind of have to go through losses, through pain, before you start winning, right? I just feel like when you look at the OKC as of late, they took 1-2 seasons. Wasn't it not recently? Was it 2 seasons ago where they met Luka? Was it conference finals or NBA semi-finals? The West semi-finals, right? Where they met Luka and they went into that top favourites. They were the top seed in the West, right? And then young team again. Everyone, you kind of expected them to do the job against the Mavs. But nah, man, the experience of the Mavericks with Kyrie and Luka and those guys, right, just kind of outshone, kind of show them like, yo, you guys are good, but it's not your time. It's a canon event, man. It's not really to say that the Spurs is a bad team or that there's a lot of teams better than them, but I do expect the Spurs to hold losses. And look at the Celtics, bro. Look at my team, the Boston Celtics. Do you know how many losses Tatum Brown had to endure en route to win the NBA? So it's like, I just feel like it's a canon event for a young team, a young up-and-coming team to kind of go through pain. You kind of have to go through a couple of losses or losses in general just for you to be ready to go far or potentially win the whole shebang, right? So for this playoffs, I don't really expect them to go far like that. In the first round, I feel like it wouldn't really be an easy series for anyone, really. That's going to be a tough series first round, but I just feel like experience, man, as you progress along the playoffs, man, the more experience you need. That's not to say, again, this Spurs team are incapable of winning. The quality of the team is bad or anything, but I just feel like, experience is the biggest thing in playoff basketball, man. If they keep everything as is, ceteris paribus, if you guys know, innit? You feel me? Big word, ceteris paribus, you feel me? If the Spurs could just keep progressing, I don't see why they can't win a championship in the near future. But in the near future, I don't know. In the playoffs, they could cause, again, if they meet OKC or anyone in general, they could cause problems for them, right? You're a very young team. They've got bucket getters, right? I like Keldon Johnson, They've got a lot of good guards, right? That they got Vassell, Stephon Castle, again, superstar in the making. You got De'Aaron Fox. I'm like what I'm seeing with Harrison Barnes. The leadership he's bringing to the table. And I just feel like, again, Wemby, they're doing this without Wemby playing at his top, at his best, right? I feel like his playmaking, his court awareness is getting better. He made like a crazy pass. I'm not sure if you guys saw it. It was in the third quarter where he was kind of going for a shot and then he just passes it to Dylan Harper. He kind of fakes the shot and passes it, zips it to Dylan Harper, and he makes like a ferocious dunk around the rim. Great dunk, great play in general. I just feel like that side of Wemby's game is developing. And as Wemby develops, gets into form, man, they're only going up from here. But I just feel like, yeah, again, in the playoffs, man, it's kind of an event. Kind of have to go through pain. So yeah, I don't know. You guys let me know on that. Yeah, again, they could cause OKC some matchup problems if they do meet them in the playoffs. Again, would it be surprised if they have to play OKC in the first round and they end up knocking them out? But to go to the championship rounds, to go deep into the playoffs, might just be a little bit too much for the San Antonio Spurs. I'm for OKC. Speaking on OKC, if I'm an OKC fan watching this, OKC player, even a coaching staff, anyone in the OKC organization or anyone to do with the OKC, if I was an OKC fan in general, I probably wouldn't stress this, Again, Spurs are a very good young team, a team that's hungry, looking to prove themselves in the regular season, looking to prove themselves in the NBA. Man, you lot have been doing a lot of winning. Again, bro, I know I've been clowning you guys out saying, OKC Thunder is okay to lose. It is okay to lose because the rate you guys were moving, sheesh. You guys might want to say bye-bye to that 73-9 season because after this, I don't know, man, But again, it seems like the Spurs have your number for some reason. You're not going to be playing the Spurs every single week. OKC is not going to be playing the Spurs every single week. So I do expect the OKC to have a dominant season. This is probably just like a mid-season blip. And they could probably look at this. If anything, this can make the OKC Thunder just better in general. They could look at this and go, okay, these 3 losses, obviously, they've lost potential sign of weakness. But again, there's so much basketball to be played. Coaching staff, again, great coaching staff, great coach, great players. What we expect from them is adaptability to look at this, to learn from this. And if they could learn from this could probably just make them even better to the point where come playoff time, they probably thought to themselves that, they were the finishing articles and now they're just able to go to a level above, a level beyond, right? To what they were last year and coming into the season. So it could even just make them even better. Again, so if I'm an OKC fan, I probably wouldn't stress this, man. Again, you're not going to be playing the Spurs every single week. And come playoff time, if you do manage to play the Spurs, by then you probably should have found an answer to playing against the Spurs, right? So, yeah, I wouldn't worry about that. But yeah, man, Spurs. What this is for the Spurs, though, this is a statement victory saying we've built a team. We may be young, but we're hungry, confident, and ready to build something. And a pairing or a duo of confidence and a young team, putting that together. Sheesh, that's an insane boost, bro. That's like that's Kaioken, bro. They've got Kaioken times 10 and Kaioken times 10, Kaioken times 20, bro. You feel me? It's only up from here for the San Antonio Spurs. But yeah, San Antonio Spurs are potential kryptonite for the OKC Thunder. We have to see. We'll have to see come playoff time. But yeah, man, Spurs been playing great hoops. Great hoops.